Democratic Senator John Fetterman spitting facts about President-elect Trump and what went wrong in his own party. And as he put it, the Democrats' constant freakouts, they're not helping anybody. And unlike most of his deprived party, he's not rooting for Trump to fail in his second term. Check this out.
I'm just a regular Democrat. I'm not leaving my party, but I'm not sure why some of the things that I've chosen to do, like meeting with nominees and having views that might be more aligned with some of the Republican side, I think that's part of politics, and that's pretty much consistent with just doing the job and representing the kind of state that we have in Pennsylvania.
Looking forward, what are you most optimistic about with a Trump presidency, and what do you fear?
Well, it's like I've been warning people, like, you got to chill out, like the constant, freak out. It's not helpful. So, pack a lunch, pace yourself, because he hasn't even taken office yet.
Do you think he has the potential to be a successful and a good president?
I hope, because I'm not rooting against him. If you're rooting against the president, you are rooting against the nation. And I'm not ever going to be where I want a president to fail. So country first. I know it's become maybe like a cliche, but it happens to be true.
Good for him. Whether John Fetterman agrees with Trump or not, he wants America to succeed. And he doesn't just stop there. This is a Democratic senator who's not afraid to admit that President-elect Trump is a singular political talent. His exact words, guys. Is John Fetterman about to become Republican? Here, check this out.
What was the single biggest factor behind Kamala Harris and Democrats losing in November?
You have a singular political talent. It's undeniable.
Trump.
He had the energy and almost a sense of fearlessness to just say all those kinds of things. And people, it's undeniable that it has an entertaining aspect for that too. And just, if you're not afraid to say all of those things, and after you survived an assassination, you literally were shot in your head. Yeah. And had the presence of mind to respond, fight. I mean, that's a political talent. It's undeniable. And also, I never believed that it was about fascism. And for me, that made it difficult for
Kamala Harris said that he was a fascist.
Yeah, well, it's like that's her prerogative. I mean, but it's not a word that I would use, because you put a lot of Democrats, especially in my state, that I know, and I happen to love people that are going to vote for Trump, and they are not fascists. And also fascism, that's not a word that regular people, use. That, I think people are going to decide who is the candidate that's going to protect and project, my version of the American way of life. And that's what happened.
Seriously, guys, every time I watch John Fetterman, I kind of like him a little bit more and more. He actually seems kind of smart and almost normal. Too normal for the Democratic Party. What do you think? Kind of makes me think that his own party may soon turn on him like they've done before. But hey, if Democrats decide to eject him from their party, we could sure use another Republican in the Senate. Am I right, guys? In fact, Mike Huckabee, Trump's nominee for U.S. ambassador to Israel, has already said some very positive words about the possibly MAGA senator. Here, check this out.
Why do so many Democrats don't think like Fetterman? Why do they not think like Fetterman and say, okay, we're going to attack the people that are our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, and call them fascists for voting for somebody? It seems like a horrible way to get elected, as November 5th showed.
Yeah, I just think John Fetterman has proven himself to be the most rational Democrat in the entire United States Senate. I want to meet him, and during the confirmation process, I hope I get a chance to visit with him, because I want to say to his face, in person, that I apologize for having misjudged him during the election when he beat Dr. Oz a few years back. I thought, this guy's not together. But he is together. And when I listen to him, I think he's making more sense than all of the Democrats and most of the Republicans. I just find him refreshing. He's so darn transparent. And his comments there were spot on. Good for him. And I owe him a face-to-face apology for misjudging him. And I look forward to making it.
Now, seriously, guys, I would love it if we finally hear hear about John Fetterman becoming the first Democratic senator to turn MAGA. I mean, he's already the first senator to go on Truth Social, the social media site of President-elect Donald Trump. In his first Truth, Fetterman advocated for Trump to be pardoned from the New York hush money case, for which he was found guilty of 34 felony counts. He gave his hot take saying how it was kind of like Hunter Biden and that they were both bullshit. That part about Hunter Biden, I don't necessarily agree with, but he did make a good point when he said that weaponizing the judiciary for blatant partisan gain diminishes the collective faith in our institutions and it sows further division. That's not a new opinion for Fetterman, who's been calling for Trump to be pardoned since President Joe Biden issued a sweeping pardon of his son Hunter Biden. But the platform which our president-elect launched in 2022 after being banned from Twitter is new. And speaking of Twitter, now called X, Senator Fetterman, unlike most Democrats, is not afraid to praise tech billionaire Elon Musk. In his own words, he admires Mr. Musk. As the senator explained, Elon Musk has been involved in very important parts of American society: AI, SpaceX, and other kinds of things. Fetterman said earlier this year that the SpaceX CEO has an appeal with a demographic that Democrats have a hard time identifying with. He even compared Elon Musk to Tony Stark from Marvel, Iron Man. He's the richest man and he's undeniably a brilliant guy. He says Elon Musk may be on a different team, but that doesn't make him, Fetterman, an enemy, and he's not automatically going to become a critic. Elon Musk responded to Fetterman's remarks saying that it's hard not to like Senator Fetterman. He puts country over party. And I agree. We're all about making our country great again. And if people like Fetterman are on board with that, then the more the merrier, right, guys? In fact, John Fetterman has even demonstrated on multiple occasions that he is willing to criticize his own party on issues. Recently, he's shown openness to confirming some of Trump's cabinet nominees when he returns to the White House in January. Now, that includes Mehmet Oz, the Republican that he beat in the general election for the Pennsylvania Senate seat. See, that's what I'm talking about here, guys. Country over party, MAGA unity. All right, guys, drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button to show your support for the work that we do here on the channel. Now, we're just starting our discussion today, so don't go anywhere, you guys. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and turning on all notifications. That way you guys stay updated on what's happening with America right now. No BS, just cold hard facts. All right, let's get back to it. So now, Senator John Fetterman, he wasn't in Washington for the first Trump administration, but he has a few ideas about how Democrats should handle the second. He wants his party to accept its losses. He wants his party to chill out a little bit. And he wants his party to please stop with all the hot takes about what went wrong in November, since Democrats have 4 long years to figure it out. And this is a guy who knows what's up. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Fetterman, he's got some exposure. He's got some experience taking on President-elect Donald Trump's GOP. In fact, he won his seat in 2022 after overcoming a near fatal stroke, you guys, and beating the Trump-endorsed Dr. Mehmet Oz, who has since become the president-elect's pick to run Medicare. I definitely think that the guy is at least a man worth listening to at the very least. And he says that Democrats should actually start talking to people again, talking to working class voters. He said to have a conversation with anyone that's willing to have an honest conversation. He even gave some examples, saying how he's had conversations on Fox News and they've played him straight. He's shown up on Newsmax and they've played it straight. And even Rogan. For the Pennsylvania Democrat, Rogan was great. Fetterman describes him as cordial and open and warm. He also mentioned how all the way back to 2016, he noticed how it was clear at that time that people were voting for Trump. And the Democrats' response was, aren't they smart enough to realize that they're voting against their interests? And for Fetterman, that's just insulting and it's just not helpful. It's condescending. And if anything, that reinforces that kind of stereotype. He said that telling them that I know better than you, that's not helpful. But what really convinced me about the senator is how he actually said the truth about his party, that Democrats just can't stop losing our minds every 15 minutes. For Fetterman, they really need to pace ourselves, or, for FFS, just grab a grip. Realize that this is how elections go. At least for the next 2 years, they're going to have the opportunity to write the narrative and to drive the narrative. Here's what he said that especially made me go, this guy kind of makes a good point. He said, I'm just saying, buckle up and pack a lunch because it's going to be 4 years of this. And if you have a choice to freak out, on the hour, then that's your right. But I will not. I'm not that dude, and I'm not that Democrat. I'm going to pick my fights. If you freak out on everything, you lose any kind of relevance. Now, this is a Democrat who's got his head on straight. Democrats are definitely going to have to, eat crow for the next few years. Maybe even more than that for all we know. I mean, the least they can do is pace themselves. You know what I mean? Even their own party strategists admit that the Democratic Party brand is in the toilet. Their words, not mine, guys. But I do certainly agree with them. The New York Times held a written online conversation hosted by contributing Times opinion writer Frank Bruni with progressive campaign consultant Anat Shenker-Osorio, Democratic communication strategist Liz Smith, and former Ohio Representative Tim Ryan to discuss the remains of the party after this brutal loss in November. Now, according to Smith, many of the Democrats who succeeded this cycle, they're people who ran against the Democratic Party brand. And when the best way to win as a candidate is to run against your own party, that's kind of bad. They said that their candidates down ballot are good. It's what the D that's next to their name means that people don't like. And it's true. Smith also pointed out that Trump tore down the blue wall in the industrial Midwest, but he also expanded his vote the most in our bluest and most urban areas. Shenker-Osorio also went even harder on the toilet reference, saying that toilets have clear unity. So perhaps the comparison is even generous when it comes to the Democratic Party. Now, according to Ryan, the sign outside HQ now should say, "Beware, entering an echo chamber." He even proposed moving the whole operation to Youngstown, but it could be Pittsburgh or even Cleveland or Toledo or Detroit or Milwaukee. They said that it should not be in Washington or anywhere on the coasts because they need to send a bold signal that they are committed to reconnecting to people out in the real world. Smith said that their top outperformers in House races couldn't have had more desperate profiles. What they had in common was that they were willing to run against party brand. They met voters where they are with their frustrations on the border and public safety issues, and they talked more about their vision for the future than how bad Donald Trump is. The strategists also pointed out that these members largely were among the first to call for Joe Biden to step down as nominee. They weren't in the crew of Democrats who told voters not to believe what they had seen with their own eyes in that first debate. You know it's bad, real bad, when your party's best strategy to win isn't to double down on its policies, isn't to stand strong with its leadership, but to straight up distance yourself from them. This wasn't just about bad optics or missteps. This was a full-blown identity crisis. Voters were frustrated mostly about the economy. Inflation was hitting hard, and people were out there saying, what is this administration really done for us lately? Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this is a sign of a party that's losing its connection with voters. People felt like Democrats were either too focused on the so-called elite stuff like woke messaging, diversity campaigns, equity campaigns, programs, or that they were just straight up missing the mark on issues that really hit home. Inflation, wages, housing costs, and even the border crisis. And look, I'm not saying that those initiatives are not important, but when families are struggling to pay for groceries, they're not trying to hear about big picture ideals. They want solutions now. Voters, they don't want wishy-washy. They want leadership. They want to know what you really actually stand for. The Democrats in 2024, they didn't deliver that clarity. And results speak for themselves. So does this mean Democrats are going to become Republicans now? Plus, should we even accept Democrats converting to want to become Republicans now? Let me know your thoughts on this, guys, in the comments. Drop a quick yes or no in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let's make a conversation out of this. We can definitely circle back to this on a future video. In the meantime, I highly recommend checking out our other videos on the channel. I just uploaded another one talking about President-elect Trump shutting down a very rude NBC interviewer. Definitely a masterclass you want to check out, guys. But as always, thanks so much for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.